All right. Welcome once again to Justice Conversations. Dr. Brian O'Neill, Luis Suave Gonzalez, and we're brought to you by Westchester University. And I'd like to mention we have a couple of guests with us today. We got Daniel Harlem and his wife, Tameka Harlem.
That's right.
Tameka associated with YSRP, which is actually how she and Daniel met. That's a youthful sentencing, bringing common sense to youthful sentencing, I would say, and reforming youthful sentencing. As Tameka has the experience of having a life sentence at the age of 16, and she, of course, has been out for several years.
1 year. 1 year.
1 year.
1 year and how many
1
weeks?
year.
1 week, right?
1 year and 1 week.
Right.
Yep.
1 year and 1 week. Welcome
1 year
home.
and 1 week. Thank you.
So we're going to talk about their lives and what they're trying to do and what they've gone through. So we'll talk a little bit about each of your stories today. So, Daniel, you want to start about where you've been and where you're at?
Well, all right. First of all, my life is it's like crazy right now. I'm working, and then I'm experiencing things that I've been through in life. I met this young lady when I was 13. She was 12. I mean, we did crimes and stuff, but I was getting into dumb stuff. Went to jail when I was 16. Came home when I was like 37. I'm 42 now. I mean, all that I've been doing is basically staying out of trouble, working, maintaining, and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I got married the 31st January. So this year, everything is like new for me, bigger and better things right now. You know what I mean? With this beautiful young lady. See what I mean? Take it over from there, baby.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Daniel, you did 15 years then.
Right.
So what were you sentenced for?
Murder, burglary, all kinds of stuff, like getting in trouble as a juvenile. And there's like going to court, like basically not going to court. You know what I mean? Then I have a warrant, then I get another charge, and it was like charges kept on building up.
So you were sentenced as an adult at the age of 16.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have that in common with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're both sentenced as adults.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Being though that you went through the system and you out now, much older, mature, I remember what struck me about you when I first met you was that I could hear your passion and how you want to work and educate young people.
Right.
What would you tell young people that probably still look at you as that cool dude from the neighborhood? Because, a lot of the time we go away, but our legacy still live in the neighborhood and people look on like, I want to be like such and such, What would you tell the young brothers and sisters out there now that we are in the 40s and 50s, right? Like,
Right.
jail is not cool.
First of all, this is what I would tell any young person. Do not never walk in my shoes. Do not never ever look at me like I was cool. I was naive, immature. I was following behind other people. So what you see me doing now is trying to do something better, trying to keep the young men out of jail, keep young women out of jail. I'm just trying to, start something new. It's like the murder rate is so high right now in Philadelphia. It's just crazy. And it's like this is new beginning, a new year, and everything is just going so fast. And I'm like, it's time to step up and do something and trying to help change a movement or something. I'm just basically asking for help. Like, there's any black young men out there that want to do the right thing, I'm here to listen to your calls and your conversations.
I think that this is a start. You speaking and sharing your story and just being there for another young black man or woman.
Right.
It's the start, right? Because a lot of us in the communities don't have that leadership mentor. We don't have that person we could call or talk to.
Right.
So I always tell people, like, we don't just bring people to the show that politicians, we like to bring the average people to the show because that's where the difference is made.
Right.
The difference is made when somebody is just doing what they think they should do as a human being and not as a celebrity or politician.
Right.
So you starting doing the right thing. So if you had the opportunity what will you do? What is it that you want the audience out there to get involved with and help you with? What is it that you're
I
trying to
want.
do?
I'd rather start with the education of schools, going to the school boards and talking to them, and basically them like give me a feel what I need to do so I can start this movement and need to know what to do for the right things so I won't have to crash or fall and I can just keep it moving. I don't want to fall and say, "Dang, I started something, and then I'm failing." No, I want to go to the right people so they can guide me through the right steps to know what I'm doing and know what I need to do so I could keep it going and helping each young folks. I'm not trying to start from Philly. I'm trying to go all over the city, like Pittsburgh, New York, whatever. There's so many young people out here dying these days that it's not even funny. They think listen to these rap music and all that. That's cool. That's not cool because you know what it's doing is poison your mind, make you do stupid stuff in the penitentiary or you're doing juvenile life. There's not cool. There's not no life like that. It's basically you got so many young guys out here disrespecting people my age, they mothers, they sisters. There's no respect for these young folks got out here right now. These young folks don't have respect for no one at all. Like I said, you could walk up to a young folks and say something to them and say hi or something positive. You know what they do? What the f are you talking about? And this, my curfew is 8 o'clock every day. If I'm not at work, I'm in the house at 8 o'clock. I don't got time for the drama, the headaches, and nothing. And that's like real rap, man.
But that's the thing, right? That sometimes I feel the same way. But as a person that served 31 years as juvenile life for myself,
Right.
I understand that we have an obligation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we like the attitude that the young folks display towards us, the
Right.
older people, we still have an opportunity, right, to say someone, right? Because a lot of them will listen to us
Right.
once we start talking to them. Once you start sharing your story, like 15 years ain't no joke in the penal
I
system.
lost a lot.
You
And for
know,
me to come home and see what I got now.
right? 15 years is a lot. So when
Right.
you start telling people I've done 15 years, like you have their attention, you have their ear.
Right.
What's happening now is that this not enough of us out here talking to these young brothers and letting them know, like, yo, I've been through the system.
Right. It's like once you're in the system, man, it's hard for you to get out of. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've been home almost 8 or 7 years. Never been back. But you know they always say, even though my education not that good, but you know what? I don't use that against me. I keep on fighting each and every day. But it's like they said, I be one of the chosen ones to come back because of my education. Why I'm not back? What I'm doing now? I'm pushing, and I got a good job. I'm making good money. I just got married. So like I said, at the end of the day is what I'm doing wrong. You know what? As long as you put God first, God's gonna guide you through all the mess and all the devils that come at you. And that's what I learned. If you fall, you buckle down to another person. Oh, like say he said something to me. Oh, and I argue back with him. You falling for the trap. You don't have to fall for the trap. You go buy something else, buy something different, do something different. Just laugh it off. Be a better man and walk away. And some of these young folks don't understand that.
Well, we were talking about that in previous shows. The toxic masculinity, how the idea of disrespect,
Right.
and how people think that there's only one response to that. And unfortunately, that response is a lot of time violent, and that
Right.
starts this chain of events. And there's very little in their universe of responses besides that.
Right.
Except, they think there'll be a punk or there'll be.
Exactly. That's what
Right.
and I didn't mean to cut you off. You're absolutely right. See, you know what people look at me in my neighborhood as a punk because I'm not arguing back with you or I'm going to throw down with you. I know what I carry. I know what I got. But you know one thing I learned? If you pull that tool out, where you going to be back? In the penitentiary. You just follow behind the young boys, what they did. You got to be smarter and wiser. Yeah, okay, you're right. But I'm still going in my refrigerator getting what I want. I'm still going to the bank getting money out. I'm still providing for my wife and my family. So the end of the day is I didn't fall for the double trap.
Right.
And that's what I be trying to teach other people. They don't want to understand that.
See, but that's the thing, right? That a lot of time people think that everybody is not cut out or built
Right.
to be a community activist.
Right.
Everybody's not cut out to be a college graduate.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you're not successful.
Right.
Right? It just means that that's not what I do, right?
Right.
Because success is coming home from prison after 15, 16 years, right? Having a job, taking care of your wife, taking care of your household, taking care of your mother, father if they're still around.
Right.
That's success. So I don't want nobody out there to think because I'm not in the limelight, I'm not in the spotlight, I'm not this, I'm not successful. No, there's different levels of success.
Right.
And one of them is the biggest one that a lot of people don't want to recognize is when you're able to come home and work, take care of your family, and stay out of jail.
And-
That's the biggest success.
And you're right about that because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. My family did not like me. They just looked at me as he came home, he's gonna be the same old person. But you know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. I fell, got back up, fell. I had to go through stuff just to get where I'm at today. But you know what? My mom look at me as that good son. My aunts and them look at me as a good nephew because of what I'm doing. I'm not out here shooting, selling drugs. I'm not out here doing that. I'm providing for my wife, providing for my family. And you know what? I'm standing out the street lights. You can never say that the police was called at my house for domestics or anything. It's never a report at my house for a police call because we don't play that. If we can, if me and my wife cannot talk about it, we just go, one of us go take an air, and that's always me. I'll talk to you later, whatever. Once the shouting start, I'm like, yo, I'll be right back because I know how to cut it. So if you feed, then it's going to keep on going. And I got different methods for different things, but these young folks, man, time I cut on the news, is always a shooting. And to be honest with you, I cut my cable off. I just use my phone for cable because I'm tired of this seeing shootings. I'm tired of this seeing teenagers.
Sure.
So anybody that's listening out there, you listening to a typical brother in the neighborhood
Yes.
that just care about you and your well-being.
Right.
Miss Tameka, I just want to, before we go on a commercial break, right? I just want the people to know, man, that how deep this story is, right? Where y'all met when y'all was 12 and 13.
Yeah.
You
go to
you
church.
went away for 23, 24.
24.
He went away for 16.
Yeah.
But y'all somehow reunited. And I think that that's a story that people need to hear.
Dude, that is crazy.
We're going to talk about it in the next segment because I think that people need to know, right, that if you really care for someone, if you really love someone,
Right.
and if it's for you,
Right.
you going to get it.
And
You
gonna
don't even
fight
got
for
to
it.
try that hard.
Right.
But right now, we got to go on a commercial break. You listening to a Justice Conversation on Usala Radio.
That is crazy. Like,
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends. Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Welcome back to Justice Conversations from the ivory tower to the streets. Dr. Brian O'Neill, Luis Suave Gonzalez. Joining the studio, Daniel Harlem and his wife Tameka Harlem, and we're talking about the fact that these folks both did substantial amounts of their life in prison. They reunited and they met as preteens. So, what is unique about this is they reunited many years later and found each other again. So, we were talking about, is that fate? Is it something else at work?
It's love.
Tell us about it.
Love. That's not no fate. That's love.
And I just think that it's amazing, but it's also show people out there that no matter how long something takes, if it's for you,
it will
it's
come right,
for
right
you.
back. Like it was crazy to how me and my wife really met. Like all over again. I just got a FaceTime. She like, I'm home. We never broke up. Whoever you with, they gotta go. I was like, hold up, time out. This you're not home. She started showing the card where she at. I'm like, oh my God, she is home. I was like, I said to myself, if we don't gotta go through all that, cause I ain't got nobody. I'm getting myself together and I'm working on me. She like, well, let you know, we never broke up. I'm coming to get you. So we went out on our first date. You know what I mean? We went to Wingstop. That was our first date. You know what I mean? Even though the family was taking pictures of me, wanted to know what my ID looked like. And
my
Uh-huh.
Aunt
that.
Shirley, I paroled to my Aunt Shirley's house, and he came to the house to take me out.
Wow.
And we were in the backyard about to leave, and my Aunt Shirley grabbed her phone, was taking pictures of him saying, I want to make sure my niece gets back safely. I don't know who you are, but I want your picture. Just in case you don't bring her back, the police know what you look like.
Right. I came back, but I came back an hour early before our curfew, and she like, wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
But it's like now, me and her Aunt Shirley like this. We like, shh. Like she's always there. I mean, she's a good person. I mean, she's a good supporter. My mom, she's a good supporter. My aunt, she's a good supporter in my life. My Uncle Phil, my Aunt Diane, these are good people that supports me through the good and through the bads.
So,
You know what I mean?
did you guys, were you in contact with each other while you were both locked up or not?
No.
No.
Oh, that's even more amazing.
No,
Right.
not at all.
Like, we was not pen pals, we was
Wow.
not nothing.
Wow.
She want her subway, I want my subway.
Yeah.
Sure.
As simple as that. And it's like, she already had a mission, what she wanted to do when she came home. And her mission was to track me down, but she tracked me down because her sister was already tracking me down. But I'm thinking her sister playing like, Mika, come on, all right, what Mika want with me? Like, I kept on saying, what Mika want with me? Like, Mika don't want me. She's like, well, Mika come home, you know what I mean, she might want to see you, this and that. I'm like, Mika don't want me. That we was young. But then when Mika did come home, that was the crazy part. She jumped right on the phone from the time that she got out of prison to the time she got in the car. She was on the phone with me, talking crazy.
Wow. So, Tameka, can I ask
So,
you?
let me ask him a question
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Sure.
So when she got incarcerated,
Yes.
what was your thoughts? Like,
I was
what
already gone from the streets.
you was already incarcerated yourself,
Right.
But still, what was your thoughts like when you got the news like,
I'm
Tameka
like-
got life? You know, like
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like that. Who gonna ride with me? Who gonna write me letters? Who gonna send me money? Like, she knew where everything was at. She knew where all the money was at. She knew where everything was at. And the thing about it is when she left, it's like everything went downhill. Like, I feel like in my heart, to be honest with you, I thought the money that we did make out there and we stuff that we did, it's like I feel like she ran with it. And everybody telling me she was locked up, and I'm thinking she wasn't locked up. I think she just ran off with the money and all that. But like I said, go find out that she really, once I started getting articles and stuff that she was really locked up, started getting papers and stuff, I'm like, yo, she really locked up. So it made me think like, oh man, maybe I came at this situation a little bit wrong. You know what I mean? People was all in my head talking about, oh, she gonna leave you, she gone already, that money gone. I'm telling everybody our business, but I ain't had to tell nobody I was young and I didn't know no better as me coming through the jail system. So I'm thinking everything you did in the street, you could go and brag about, but you can't, because people use that against you. You know what I mean? It's like that's like a weakness.
Right.
And then a man could come at you and say, oh, your girl out there doing this, your wife out there doing that, and that's how they was coming at me. And I was like, man, forget her. And I couldn't call her no whore. I couldn't call her none of it because she's not none of that in the projects. So anything I was like, man, forget her. You know what I mean? Next man got it. You know what I mean? That was young love, and that's how I looked at it.
so. Have you ever thought about that? It probably was a blessing the time you was locked up, because perhaps if you wasn't locked up, you probably would have ended up in the same situation with a life sentence.
Right.
I mean, have you ever thought about that?
Me and Mika talked about that. She said, I'm gonna break it down to you, to be honest, but she said it was meant for us to go away because we don't know how our life was. But the thing about it is, while we went away, you got better, I got better, we got stronger, and look, it was meant for us to be, because the simple fact is I came back to you, you accept me with open arms. But like I say to you is, I had money, I had everything. But when Mika came home, I had 2 pairs of drawers, 1 T-shirt, like 3 pairs of jeans, but I had money. I wouldn't go shopping, I wouldn't do nothing. Only thing I would do is spend it on people that would be around me, you know what I mean, and party and have fun. But when Mika came home, Mika looked in my closet, this not you. So I'm like, myself is like, what you mean it's not me? She cleared my house. She cleared my house, no more friends, no people that was leeching off me. It was just a lot that she just did. Look at my rooms. I got rooms full of jeans, everything. I'm back to the old person when we first met, me having a closet full of clothes and all that. But like I said to you, I just really appreciate her. Just like I said, some men don't understand what they got until it's too late. And I woke up and realized that when I went to jail and Mika was still out there for a little while. I woke up and realized I did lose her. But the thing about it is, now when you get her back, you fight, you do everything you can to show this woman you love her. Like, nobody didn't do nothing for her when she came home but me. I had to do everything for her. I still put up with her forgetting this, forgetting that, because she's never really got on a bus before. She always got driven around and stuff, so she don't know where a lot of stuff at. No. So if I send her somewhere, one thing I'm waking up, realizing and learning is you can't get mad. She only been here maybe once that month. It's 3 months from now, and she gotta go back there. You gotta remind her, and there's some that men don't have, and they wouldn't have patience with her. And that's why I say God put us together for a reason. He knew what he was doing. He knew I will provide and be there for her. You know, I wouldn't take advantage of her. And I just, I really take my shirt off for her. She's a blessing, man. That's it. That's like I say, she's a blessing.
Well, now, Tameka, how did you end up incarcerated for life at the age of 16?
Okay, so when I was 16, I was going through a lot of things that a lot of 16-year-olds shouldn't be going through. And I was depressed, and, I was doing drugs. I was hanging out with older people. And I thought, that made me feel good at the moment. And so I ended up befriending a girl named Nicole. And she knew 2 guys that she was friends with. Now, mind you, she's like 18. I was 16. And the guys were like in their 30s. So we would like hang out with them or whatever. And this one particular night, we went and we decided to go out to Penn's Landing. And we went out there and, we were, just driving around. And then the guys were like, let's go rob somebody for their car. And, we're going to rob somebody for their car. Oh, and they were going to, sell it because they worked at, a chop shop or something like that or whatever. So we were like, all right. So we're high, and so they gave her a gun, and she shot and killed the driver of the car that we were supposed to take. And
So you were listed as a co-conspirator.
Yep, because I was there. I got conspiracy.
Did they offer you any plea at all?
None.
Did she get life also?
Yes.
Okay. How about the 2 other guys?
The 2 other guys turned state evidence against us, so they never did a day of jail time. And one of the guys' mom was a cop.
Wow.
Yeah.
You see?
Wow.
What I tell y'all all the time. I know y'all get tired. That's why I'm telling y'all. Be careful who you hang with. Be careful of these old nut ass old heads out here that will put a gun in your hand and tell you to go commit a crime. And when the heat come down on them, they will turn state evidence on you. It happens all the time. It never fails. It never fails. That's
Generation to generation.
this is a story that been told plenty of times. But for some reason, some of these young brothers don't believe it. Oh, my old head is thorough. Yeah. Mike Tyson said it best.
Yeah, you got
Everybody's tough till they get punched in the face. When you get punched in the face with that murder charge, it's a different story. That's who you know who's real and who ain't real. So y'all got to be careful out there, brothers and sisters. Y'all got to be careful. You got some real old dudes out here that will put that 4 pound in your hand.
Right.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. And tell you to go pull that trigger. And then go to court every single day and testify.
Right.
I ain't do it. He did it. And walk away, commit more crime while you serving life.
Yep. And then do the next young brother like that. It's
Yeah,
a
because
repeated
I did
pattern.
the girl that I was with that did the murder.
Right.
She lived by herself, so I thought that at 16, to me, that was like the coolest thing. She had her own apartment. You know, she has her own, little baby, whatever. We could party over there, bring guys over there, do drugs over there. My mom wasn't having that at her house, so I did everything for her. And, when our crime happened, when she turned herself in, she told them that I was the shooter. Yeah. So for a while in the paper, it was saying that we were pointing a finger at each other, and they didn't know who the shooter was. So 2 years later, when we went to trial, the girl and the guy that was in a back seat pointed her out as the shooter. So that's how they finally knew who the shooter was.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you got paroled because of the Supreme Court decision on juvenile life.
Yes, the ruling.
Otherwise, you'd still be there.
Yes, I would. Yep.
And that was in 2000.
And it came down in 2012.
Right.
Then the state appealed it, and it took
Right.
5 more years
5
for
more
them
years,
to
that's right.
decide to make it retroactive.
2017. Right.
Montgomery
versus Alabama.
Yep,
Yes.
Alabama.
So
Yeah.
but again, this is the story, man. That people, this is the type of story we like to tell to the public, man, because it's our community, it's our young brothers and sisters ending up in prison. You know this because we went to jail not too far from each other, right? But I remember when I went to prison, Doc, there was only like maybe 8 state prisons.
Right.
It's
right.
like 50 of them.
And now there's 29 state prisons.
That's
wow.
29 state prison. I remember the only state prison for women at the time was Muncie.
Now they've got more than one.
Now they got more than one. And with that, I just want people to understand that these are real people with real stories.
It was what? It was greater for it. I mean, it was
Take heed.
greater for it then.
Because if you don't listen, it could happen to you. And you listening to a justice conversation on Usala Radio.
It was.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Welcome back to Justice Conversations from the Ivory Tower to the Street. Dr. Brian O'Neill, Luis Suave Gonzalez, Daniel Harlem with his wife Tameka Harlem, talking about their experiences from the prison, back to society, and contributing members of society, I might add. And Tameka was just talking about her journey as a 16-year-old, doing 24 years because she was an accomplice, ruled to be an accomplice, not something she ever expected in her life, and ended up doing that before the Montgomery versus Alabama decision, which basically invalidated mandatory life for juveniles, and she was sentenced under a mandatory life for juveniles situation. Although Tameka's still on parole essentially the rest of her life until that gets challenged. Oh, you're on parole as well.
I'm on parole with her.
Gotcha.
Whatever my wife at, I gotta do. But I'm not on parole no more. But it's like being on parole, like they really railroaded me, because I'm gonna say to you is when I did sign the paperwork and say they said it was all said and done, I was free. They waited 3 months afterwards and said I had probation on top of that. I got pulled over in the cars. When I got pulled over in the car, it was like a traffic stop. I'm like, oh, I'm free. It's been like 3 or 4 months. I'm free. Like I signed my paperwork. I ain't got to worry about nothing. Man, I gave my name, everything, like proudly. Man, they came back so fast, dragged me out that car. To me, I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, I'm a free man. Like, man, shut up. You know what you locked up for. Yo, I sat at CFCF for like maybe 15 days and then went to house corrections and my status dropped. Yo, when I said I sat there for 30 days, I didn't know what I was locked up for. You know, they told me probation violation. How did I got probation violation knowing I was on parole? So when I go see Judge Brinkley, she said I violated her because she said 6 years ago, if you ever got out of prison, you would do probation. That was 6 years ago. I don't remember that. I was in a penitentiary. How are you going to remember what I signed in the penitentiary? And then she gave me another 30 days on top of that to do in the county jail for violating her. Then once I got home, I had to look for another job. I had a job, had to look for everything. She like basically took everything from me. I had to do everything all over again. It's like, how? They just do whatever they want.
What's the judge's name? Bernice?
Judge Brinkley.
Brinkley, right?
Yeah, same judge Brink Mills got.
Yeah.
But you're free of the system now.
Huh?
You're completely free of the system. At
Right.
this point.
Yeah. I'm only on parole because she's on parole.
Right.
So Tameka, let me ask you this: now that you're home,
yes,
how do you view the criminal justice system? You know, from the time you went in as a 16-year-old to that. What is your views on the criminal justice system?
Well, I still think it's like, I think in a sense on my part, and I'm going to go with my experience as far as being a child and doing crimes, like it's gotten a lot better. Like they are sentencing the juveniles to like life in prison and, you know, and saying let's throw them away forever. Like they're actually thinking about, you know, things before they do it because they are kids. You know, there's a difference between a kid and an adult, and they're finally seeing that. And I like that. I'm grateful for that.
But the real big problem is, to be honest with y'all, is the reason why the crime's up like right now, because you got fathers, after fathers in prison, you got the young guys that's sitting outside, you know what I mean, shooting and doing everything. They got father figures. That's why I said the men that's out here right now, you don't really gotta be their father. Just show them that that you're a father figure. And by show them, like go to basketball games, do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But there's no father figures out here.
Right.
There's no father figures out here.
Yeah.
That's why the crime is like it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, there are agencies, but we should also mention that there's a huge waiting list for like Big Brother. The waiting list can be up to 4 years.
Well, they need to start open more programs up.
Right.
I mean, we do have a few organizations out here,
right,
such as the No Mo organization, the FAT program, which is something I was involved with when I was in prison. They're still out here playing that role of father figures and keeping kids off the street, but it's not enough.
You need more men.
It's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so to me, when I see people like Tameka that's done 23 years, 24 years, you know, I'm seeing somebody that could be a mentor to these young women out here? Because you
definitely.
got
Yeah.
a lot of young women out here. They don't understand that that's not the life you want to live.
Yes.
They on back page.
Like they're not. That's not the life. Because they got a place for you. They got a place for you, and they don't mind keeping you for life.
No.
At all. They got a place for young women. It ain't like back in the days where a young woman committed a crime, there was more sympathy, or the boyfriend must have put her up to it. You know, because if that boyfriend beat you to that deal,
Right.
and get to tell on you first,
Yep.
I'm talking your language now. If he get to drop on you first, and just say, she did it, you done. You going in.
That's such a common story for
You know,
females.
So when I see you, I see somebody that could potentially go to schools, talk to these young women, because sometimes they listen to us dudes and they like,
yeah, whatever.
but I'm a woman, it's not gonna happen to me.
Right.
But when they see, and
a
this
woman
is
like you,
and this is why I love Siobhan, because Siobhan used to get that message across. Rest in peace, sis.
Yes.
But it was like they see her, they see themselves. Like she one of us. You know, sometimes it takes us to relate to our people.
Right.
And we just can't say, I came home after 30 years and I'm going to just lay back. I done my time. I'm not going to get involved with that. No, we owe that to the community. Because we not out of prison.
Right.
Most of us. Because we were exonerated. We out of prison because the United States Supreme Court ruled.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
We got
He's still a number.
re-sentenced from our illegal sentence, not re-sentenced for the crime that we committed.
Right.
A crime still happened. So we still had to pay something. We just pay a lot of years, you know. So we're not going to act like, oh, we the innocent party and we don't owe nothing, they owe me. Where I see so many brothers come home to like, they owe me. What do they owe you?
Nothing.
They gave you a second chance. They gave you the chance that 5,000 lifers in the state of Pennsylvania want, which is a chance at second life. So don't come out here talking about I don't owe nobody nothing. You owe the community, you owe the victim's family, and you owe the brothers and sisters in the penitentiary
That you left behind.
that you left behind. The ones that was by you when you was sick in that hospital.
Hungry.
Or the ones that fed you that oodles and noodles when you ain't had no money and no incomes coming into prison.
Yes.
Because you burnt your bridges.
You know, the one that made you a cake out of honey buns and graham crackers for your birthday because nobody out here remember you. So let's cut that out that we don't owe nobody. Us, they made it out.
Yes.
And this out here, we owe the community. We owe the younger kids the opportunity to at least hear us out. So nobody can say, nobody want me. So I'm telling you, right, that take that. Run with that. You have a powerful story. Y'all have a powerful story. Y'all been through the system.
Yes.
And like I said, it don't take McMills. It don't take a basketball player.
That's right.
You know, our voice matter.
Yes.
Better and more than some celebrities because we've been through the system. We know the system.
Yes.
See, that's the thing about it. Is if half of these people want to get rich off this stuff, I ain't trying to get rich. Whatever money come my way, I'm it's going to my fund by helping other young folks. My thing is once I get myself established, really get myself established, I'm building houses for young teenagers that have been raped, molested, been through it all, that don't want to go home. There's a lot of women out here that don't want to go home because the stepfather is home. And I mean, I can relate to a lot of stuff like this. So there's a lot of things I'm trying to do. Open up homes for young women, young men. I mean, you got men that's out here, that's young men that's faggots that the parents not even accepting to walk in their home no more.
Well, we're gonna rephrase that. That one word, that F word. No disrespect to nobody out there.
My apologies.
No, don't disrespect. He meant no disrespect.
Right.
But you know, so anybody out there, we apologize for that word, but y'all know what he means.
Right.
You know, sometimes, and let me rephrase it in a more radio way. Sometimes a young man are afraid to let their parents know of the lifestyle that they really want to live.
Right.
So they keep it within themselves, and that alone is dangerous.
Yes.
Because it can lead you to do other things that could be harmful not only to you,
Right.
but the community.
Well said, Suave.
You're right.
Yeah, well said. So, Tameka, what type of work are you doing now?
Okay, so right now I'm working at the laundromat down the street from my house. And it's much condensed, I should say, because I was working at Fresh Grocer when I first started, when I first came home. And that was really stressful. That at the beginning, I was like, okay, I got this, I'm all right, but then after a while, it started getting like really, really stressful. Like the amount of people that was like coming at me at one time was like, I was like getting really overwhelmed with it. And it was just like, I was getting like a little bit paranoid, and it was getting a little bit much. So I was like, I think I'm going to just go somewhere where there's like less people. I can go somewhere, to sit down and be by myself if I need, time to like breathe, take a moment to myself. And I have that at the laundromat because, like, at the laundromat, like, I have the keys to, like, the whole place. I have the office. And, all I have to do is, like, sweep, mop, clean out the drawer, the dryer lint, whatever. And, just do what I do.
Now, did you get any training at Muncie? Employment-wise or training-wise, education-wise?
Oh, I got my GED back in 97. As soon as I got there. I knocked that right out. And then I did the puppy program for like 7 years. I got a certificate in that. And I did upholstery. I did that for like a lot of years. And I did oh my gosh, I did like everything: carpentry, painting,
Everything they had?
I did everything. It was like basically towards the end of my sentence before I came home, there was like nothing left for me to do anymore.
Right.
Like I was on every crew.
Right.
Like I was in every housing unit. It was just like, okay, I'm just like over this.
Yeah, we should stress that there's no access to higher education in Muncie. We have that in some men's prisons, but we don't have that.
Right.
I don't know about Cambridge Springs. I'm doubtful they have higher education access either.
Well,
so there's a hole there in the system for females.
I say this, that in most state prisons for women, the women really don't get what the mans get.
Right.
They always get like the leftovers.
Yeah, the secondhand stuff.
The leftovers.
Yeah.
And that's something that needs to change because a lot of the time it's because a lot of the men's prison are close to the city. So a lot of volunteers don't get to travel to Muncie or Canberra Springs. But with that, we got to go on our commercial break. And you listening to Dr. Brian O'Neill, Suave Gonzalez, with our guests in the studio, Tameka Bell Harlem, and Mr. Harlem, right? And I think that your story is inspirational. We're going on a commercial break on Usala Radio.
I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. And even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, Maria, and she convinced me to continue my education. Just never judges. She's a true role model.
From the depths of my heart, I thank you, Maria, for being a friend and a beautiful person. No one receives a diploma alone, and I'm honored to share this moment with you. Thank you.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Just Conversations from the Ivory Tower to the Street, brought to you by Westchester University. Dr. Brian O'Neill, Luis Suave Gonzalez, talking to Daniel Harlem and his wife Tameka Harlem, who have both been out of prison for some time. And Tameka, most notably, did 24 years, entering the system at age 16. She's been out for about a year. Daniel's been out for longer. He did about 15 years. Talking about their life and also the fact that they reconnected after a pre-adolescent relationship. They re-met each other, so to speak, and got married, which is also quite a story in itself. So Tameka was talking about the fact that there are fewer opportunities in general for lifers in the prison system simply because they don't make them available or eligible for a lot of programs. Just sort of write them off. So you're left to have too much time and not enough prep time. There's a lot of prep time people could be getting for something outside of that. But even having people that contribute more to the prison environment. Your life's not over just because you're incarcerated. And I think that writing people off does a great disservice to them.
Yeah, that's how
Well,
they treat
that's
you.
what the DOC does.
Yeah.
Right. And the DOC, only 10% of the lifers population are allowed to participate in any program.
Yes.
That means that if you got 20 people, only 2 lifers probably going to come in the program.
Yup,
GD
that's how it
program
goes.
or anything, right? The dangerous about that is that, as you see, nobody really thought that lifers, juvenile life, because up all the way to 2012, we were all classified as lifers. There was no anything that distinguished us as juvenile lifers. That came after 2012. Right? Until then, we were all lifers. And the saying in the DOC was, y'all never going home. Y'all going to die in prison. So why should we let you waste money and letting you participate in a program?
Yep.
Fast forward to 2012, we get Miller. They still not believing it.
Right.
They still not believing that it's going to happen because they appealed it. You know, but in some jails, like Gratisful, they let us take computer classes because, you know, we had a movement going on in there.
Right.
But the further you go from Montgomery County and the further you go upstate, them people up there lost because they don't have the volunteers to go up there. They get everything like 2-3 weeks late, if that. So now people start getting released in 2016. People start getting released, and guess what you're seeing today? You're seeing people that can't get jobs because they ain't had no GED. You're seeing people that can't really adjust because they wasn't allowed to participate in the prison program.
Yep.
You seeing people that can't really get jobs out here because they wasn't properly trained.
Right.
Because the way we write a resume in prison is not the way a resume is conducted out here.
Or your training for a job doesn't really exist on the outside.
Right. They don't. You know, if you ask somebody what you did for work up there, I work in the kitchen for 30 years. All right, did you got any certifications?
Yes.
Did you became a chef? No. What you did? I did everything. You ain't got nothing to prove that could transfer to a real job out here. Because if you're going to work in the kitchen in the prison, at least get some certification.
Yeah, Surf Safe. With that Surf Safe.
OSHA. OSHA, get all your safety certification. Because that could land you a good job out here.
Yep.
But if you come out and say, well, I just mopped the floor. I don't need to pay you $20 to mop my floor. Because now we got robots.
Yep.
We got robots that do that now in certain buildings.
That's very true.
Right? I could get somebody that's never been in prison and give them $10 instead of giving you $20. So, you know, the DOC need to allow lifers to participate more in these programs. Period. Because you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Nobody thought
Nope.
that juvenile lifers was going to come home.
They thought it was gonna happen.
Right? Nobody thought that lifers would be coming home. But yet, in the last year, we have a lieutenant governor.
Sure.
That's a reasonable person that's supporting commutation for people. So how many people we seen in the last year get commuted? About 9-10 people.
Which is a record compared
Which
to what
is
happened
record.
in the last 30 years.
You know, so lifers are getting a little bit of rhythm. Not enough,
Right.
But they're getting enough
Little hope.
where guys needs to be prepared.
Right. Now, Tameka, did you ever expect to get out?
I always thought that I would get out. I always said, and I always used to say, when I go home. When I would say, when I go home, I'm going to do this. When I go home, I'm going to do that.
You always kept hope.
Yeah, I always kept hope. Always. Yeah. And my one friend, Tony, it's funny because she's home. And when I came home January 31st, I got into a program. And then they got me into a 6-month program at Enon Baptist called Uplift. Uplift, yes.
Uplift.
And they guaranteed you a job at
ShopRite.
ShopRite.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Right, so I did that program. So she was one of the speakers, my friend Tony. Now, Tony is a girl that I did time with. We used to play Scrabble and, all the word games together. And we did this for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Card games, Skippo, hours. And okay, so fast forward to I came home. She was one of the speakers. So I was in the bathroom before. I was like, let me go to the bathroom before the speaker comes. And then, and I came out of the bathroom, was about to wash my hands, and she was standing there. And she was just like, I can't believe it's you. She said, you always used to tell me, Tony, when I go home, I'm going to do this. And Tony, when I go home, I'm going to do that. And she just burst into tears and just hugged me. And she was like, you never gave up hope. Like, you always believed that one day you would come home and you really home. And I said, yeah, Tony, because I just felt like God wouldn't do this to me. Like, my faith is real strong. And I just really feel like, even though I did do something wrong in this crime, I just felt like I don't feel like God wanted my life to be there. I just felt like my testimony was supposed to be somewhere else. So I never ever felt like when I was in Muncie, like this is it. Like this is like I'm gonna die here. Like I never felt like that. I just always felt like what I'm going through now, I will be telling to somebody else later to help them. I'm going through this experience right now because somebody somewhere will be going through this experience sometime later down somewhere in my life. And I need this experience so I can, help them, guide them through it.
Oh, that's remarkable.
Yeah, that's how I always felt like that. I always did. Nobody never knew that I was having a bad day, ever. And I had a lot of bad days. But, I would never put that on nobody else. And people would be in my room and they would be like, my roommates, and they were like, you don't act like a regular lifer. And I'd be like, well, how's a regular lifer act? And everybody that's from Muncie knows. Lifers are like, this is my space, this is your space, you put your stuff here, I put my stuff here, and this is how we're going to live. Take your shoes off when you come in my room, don't walk on my rugs. And that's just how a lot of lifers are at, that's their territory. They feel like this is their home forever. And, you're coming into their, their little territory world. So, and then when people move in with me, they're like, do I got to take my shoe? I'm like, listen, this is your room too. I don't care if you put boxes over there, you stand on the corner on your head. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, this is your room. You can put anything anywhere. I don't care. Wherever there's space, if you want to move something, just say, Mika, I'm moving this here, so I'll know where it's at when I want it for the next time. Like, that's how we're going to live. This is your room too. I want you to be comfortable. Because I never felt like, because I was a lifer, I felt like I had to be this miserable person and, and make my roommate miserable too. It was just like, they're already miserable. They're away from their families. They're going through a bunch of shit that I don't even know about. So why be,
say that.
So I'm sorry. So why? Okay. So why be like a dick to them? Like they're already going through so much. So like.
Well, the other thing is you didn't think it was your home.
No, I never did.
You're never gonna concede that this is my home. Mm-hmm. And I think mentally that was another big reason you didn't get so territorial.
Right. Yeah.
Sort of kept you sane in some respects.
Yep, it did.
Yeah.
But that's not only in the woman's prison, that happened in the male's prison. Like, when you be, that's my house, that's my kingdom.
Yes.
Put your pictures up. I was one of the miserable
Oh God!
I was one of the miserable.
Oh no!
Listen. And when I say miserable, I was one of the miserable dudes that I ain't had no pictures up. I had a Foot Locker box. Everything went in there. If it ain't fit, I'm throwing it out.
Right.
Because my thing was because I went through the Camp Hill riot, and where they took all our property and just threw it out. And what I learned from that was like, listen, it's not really your property. They could come in there, shake down, take whatever picture you want, step on your stuff, step on your rugs with a dirty shoe, bring the dogs in your cell, climb on your sheets that they only give you once a week, sometimes twice or every 2 weeks, and we don't say nothing to them.
Right.
Because we don't want to end up in a hole for disobeying an order or threatening an officer.
I ain't care.
But we treat each other as take your shoes off, don't step on my $1.79
exactly
rag rug.
Yes.
Like for real.
Yes.
And when you look at it, it's like, come on, man, you don't tell the guard. I used to tell them guys, yo, I don't care what you're doing here. The only thing I ain't tolerate was the drugs. If you want it, come in, that's yours. Like that's yours, not mine. But everything else, man, to me, because I wanted to come home so bad that none of this stuff that the jail gave, none of this stuff really matters to me. I remember when they gave out the tablets, when they allowed us to buy tablets.
They did?
Yeah.
I bought a tablet at the end of the
What year they did that?
16.
16, 17.
Right. I bought my tablet at the end of after I got resentenced.
Yeah, me too.
And because I wanted to create a program. Other than that, I would have never got it. And I ain't had no music in it.
Oh, they say they got cell phones in there and everything now.
Well, I don't know if they got all that. That's
not
illegal stuff.
Just tablets.
This tablet. This tablet.
Just tablets.
Right? You had to, and they price gouging, because them tablets don't even cost $240 out here. They cost like $20.
Yes.
But I got one at the end of my tail because I wanted to text people like I'm coming home.
Yes.
People that I know would not get the letter, right?
Right.
But yeah, I was one of them. Like, I don't care how you live, bro. All that I used to tell myself, man, you want to clean your cell every day? That's you.
Exactly.
Once a week I'm sweeping. Every day you could do that. I leave in the morning and you could take care of it. Because this is not my house.
Yes.
And I always felt that the cleaner you kept your cell, the more reason you gave security, which is the ones that come around doing searches to come in your cell. So I kept mine like funky.
Yeah, he was the same way like me. Me, I can't have no celly. Because I would take off my socks, walk across the day room. I wouldn't care. Go in the shower, let the joint.
And ladies and gentlemen,
turn the heat up real high.
Yeah.
So when they come in there, it's real hot. And they be like, "Oh, we gotta get out of here."
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's come to the end of the show already.
We want to thank Tameka
Went fast.
and Don.
You always call me Dan.
Dan for coming in, man, and sharing their life.
Absolutely.
And sharing their story, man, because like what we doing right now, talking about the experience, this is going to be another show. Because I tell you what, right? There was a time when we couldn't even see each other or write each other because she was in the jail and you might be in another institution that wasn't allowed.
Right.
But today we could talk about our experience, right? And laugh about it.
Yes.
But these are real experiences. This is what kept us alive in the prison.
Yes.
So I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in.
Yes.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you.
Like my shirt.
Thank you to our producer, Dylan.
Yeah,
Thank you to Westchester University for believing in us and sponsoring the show. And you listening to a Justice Conversation on Osala Radio. We see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome job.
Say something else. Seriously, that was really, really good.
Say something else to the people, man.